Hello and welcome to this edition of the Inspiring Women series. Our first leader for this edition is Lilly Vasanthini. Lilly has been with Infosys for over 25 years and is an associate vice president with the responsibility for the delivery and operations across countries in the Nordics, Central, Eastern Europe, as well as Switzerland. A seasoned veteran in delivery and operations with over 38 years of industry experience, she has led large teams and has helped incubate and grow delivery centers globally. Lilly brings diverse geo experience, having worked across Germany, China, Australia, India with multicultural teams. During her leisure time, Lilly enjoys connecting with the local communities in Europe, as well as taking long scenic walks. Welcome, Lilly. Our second leader is Liz Abrahams. Liz is an associate vice president and the diversity and inclusion champion for the Asia Pacific region for Infosys. She has been with Infosys for nearly 10 years, working as a senior client partner with a key client. She has extensive experience working with large software and IT companies, namely IBM, Oracle, Optus Communications, and Logica CMG. She has deep industry experience in complex sales, negotiation, public speaking, and leading people. She's passionate about keeping fit as well as in focus on wellness, having navigated a medical challenge recently. She has returned in a part-time role leading diversity and inclusion for APAC for Infosys. Welcome, Liz.
Thank you very much. Good
Our
to
third
see you.
leader is Poornima Shrihari. Poornima is a senior delivery manager at Infosys with over 2 decades of experience in the IT development and maintenance landscape. She has worked extensively in the financial services and retirements industry with several marquee Wall Street based clients. She's currently the capital markets portfolio head in financial services for the cloud and infrastructure services horizontal. During her leisure, Poornima enjoys trekking, cooking, and swimming. Welcome to this edition, Poornima. It's wonderful to have all three of you here, Lilly, Liz, and Poornima. Let me get started by understanding your career stories and, more importantly, your insights from them and the advice you have for our audience. Lilly, if I could begin with you, what's been your career story? What are the insights, and what advice would you share with our colleagues beginning their journeys or traversing the middle and leadership stages of their journey?
For me, change has been a complete constant. Working with clients directly and then setting up operations across the geo, right from the United States to Australia, and now, of course, in Europe. One constant thing that I see, Sushant, is change. And that is something that I have really taken on as a positive challenge because that is what makes me go forward every day.
Liz, if I can ask you to share your story as well, what have been the highlights? And you've spent such a long time in leadership roles. And if you have any insights that you wish to share with our audience as they traverse their middle and leadership journeys, that would be very useful.
I feel that what I've learned over this time is how do you work with, in a big organization with many, many, many people, and being used to not only understanding your client's business, but also understanding the company that you work for. The best advice that I would give to people is put your hand up to take on opportunities, and don't be backwards in coming forwards to ask for opportunities, but be a lifelong learner. Change is the only inevitable thing that you can expect, and keep nurturing your network, both in Infosys and out of Infosys. The more people you know, the more opportunities that you have, and that can only be good for your career.
Poornima, if I could move to you and understand your career journey and any advice that you would have for our
Sure.
colleagues.
Thanks, Sushant. If I have to kind of summarize in a nutshell, right, some of the insights and learnings from my 2 decade long journey, I'd like to call out three things which personally helped me, in a very enriching journey. The first one is being in the front and center of clients, right? And overall focus and deep focus on client centricity. That really helped me challenge myself and bring out the best in me. The second that I'd like to share is dealing head on with challenges and complex situations. Always helps all of us, deliver our best and derive absolutely enriching experiences. So do not fear. It's very natural to have apprehensions. Do not fear failure. Just make the leap and deliver your best, right? And it's always good to be a problem solver than a person who finds problems in everything. The third thing is exude the right levels of confidence. Half the battle is won when you wear the right confidence up your sleeve. Be over prepared. That's a tip I'd like to share. And capitalize on your strengths. So it's a good cycle to be in so that you're able to show the right levels of confidence in whatever you do.
While you spoke about the highlights of your career journey, I'm sure you've also faced challenges along the way. What I'd like to do in the next section is understand from you what are some of the challenges, how did you navigate those, and what's your suggestion? So let me begin with you, Lily.
Rather than calling it as challenges, I've seen two things that I personally have started focusing on. One, I like to be transparent and take ownership of my teams. Calling a spade is not an issue at all, but at the same time, how do you build transparency into it and make it more realistic is what I think we need to work on. The second aspect is also to look at ownership of your teams, and that is very significant as we not just make our teams work, we also get to have our teams perform and bring the best out of them. And the best part is when things get out of control, I tell myself, just practice staying calm. Primarily because it's a virtue and there is no point applying band aids because they peel off.
Liz, what's it been like for you?
I found that what is really important is to look for mentors, look for coaches, look for people to give you guidance and to help navigate situations that you may not have shaped before. And because I'm okay with asking for help and guidance, because I don't have all the answers, and as you get more senior, you realize there's fewer and fewer people to ask for help. What I found, as I think Poornima said, is it's really important to be confident. And sometimes that's hard if you don't know what you're doing. So having a coach, someone who's coaching you on soft skills as well as business skills, is actually really important. It's a safe place to go get guidance. And I've actually faced a lot of gender discrimination. Especially outside of Infosys, where this gender discrimination was, really difficult to navigate work, and sometimes it was quite debilitating. What's helped me, I think, as Lily has mentioned, is being transparent and upfront, and you do it politely, you do it respectfully, and it helps other people be comfortable with the feedback that you give them. When you're dealing with bullying or harassment, be mindful. In Infosys, we have the best policies on, discrimination and a zero tolerance for bullying. And you've got many channels to turn to if you're finding that politely speaking up is not working. But I've certainly found that when you politely speak to a person and give them the feedback, whatever that is, most people adjust their behaviour. And if they don't, then seek out help from, people who are either more senior or, know that particular area well. And it's really helped.
Poornima, what's it been like for you? Similar kind of challenges, different challenges, and how did you overcome them?
Yeah, fairly similar, Sushant, but from my personal journey, I'd like to quote two specific things that I faced. And I think it's the first one is very common that all of us as women face, right? Effectively juggling between our personal and family priorities. I went through this, especially when my daughter was younger. And what I'd like to suggest is, invest to all the women out there, invest in the best possible support system for yourself and create the right schedules, create the right routines, create the right structures and landscape for yourself that makes it more conducive to manage the priorities in the best possible manner, right? It's never perfect, but in the best possible manner. The second challenge I'd like to share is about dealing with feeling overwhelmed at certain times, and also feeling that you're in a burnout like situation, right? So a couple of things again I'd like to share there is break down and simplify. A lot of times when you just simplify and break things down, it just becomes much more easier. I prepare a mental map of things I want to prioritize, things I just want to defer out. And I also use a smart technique. It's a very simple technique, right? You set small baby step goals for yourself, specific, measurable, repeatable, and time bound, which kind of gives a sense of achievement for every small win. But end of the day, I just want to say it's okay to slow down, right? Gather yourself and then get back.
Let me then move to the next section, which is about understanding how you all focus on development. Because as you've done these journeys and as you've achieved career success, I'm sure that wouldn't have happened without you putting quite a bit of effort into developing yourselves, or leveraging the ecosystem, as Liz was referring to. So, my first question here would be to you, Liz, which is, we have leaders, both men and women, right? They can be significant allies to us. And you spoke to it a bit earlier. What's been your experience on this allyship from both men and women?
So, absolutely, it's so important to include your male colleagues in your experience and career journey. And there have been allies for me across the business over the 10-year period, extensive allies. We've got our leader for the region, Andrew Groth, who was a champion from the very first day that I put up my hand to set up the Emphasis Diversity and Inclusion Council in our region. It didn't exist before. And Andrew was a fantastic champion. My first manager, Misha Helbeg, he couldn't be more supportive of not only the Diversity Council and the work to set that up, but also setting up the equivalent of an iWin network, and then searching out client leaders to be mentors to our staff, doing exchanges with our clients. I have found that including men in the discussion around equity and inclusion is absolutely critical. Women hold up half the sky and men hold up the other half. And there are many men who equally believe that this is an absolutely critical initiative to have women in leadership and to have women in teams and women in sales. And there are, just as many, females who don't know how to engage with men. And I would say ask. And there are many men who want to help. I found people couldn't be more supportive up and down the leadership level, from the CEO down right across the business. There are many men who want to make a difference and help.
Poornima, if I can come to you, you've been with the organization for a number of years. How has the organization helped you in your growth?
Sure, thanks, Sushant. So firstly, I feel super grateful for whatever Infosys has offered to me, right? The first thing that I can say is the myriad of opportunities that Infosys has offered to me at the right time. Especially, I have kind of moved roles every 3 to 4 years, always looking for something challenging. And there were always some opportunities which were not only opportunities, but the right opportunities that were apt for the strength that I brought to the table, right? And kind of helped bring out the best in me. And lastly, most of my managers, I think, were great mentors as well. The culture is so collaborative, and I should also mention that the overall value system, which we have so beautifully articulated in Sea Life, just harnesses the whole thing and makes it, very enriching.
Lily, what do you do, daily or otherwise, for your development?
I kind of have carved out my space. I did it unconsciously the beginning, but now I do it consciously. Kind of created my own space and time. And the best thing is to learn to think for tomorrow. The kind of changes that I've gone through in the last 25 plus years. So you just start looking at how do you not just care for yourself, but to make sure that your team is successful. So you start thinking for them for tomorrow. And the kind of roles that I've played earlier while I was client facing direct, one key thing that I took away, and I'm still connected with my clients from the early 2000s, is invest in a relationship and nurture it. The second aspect is in today's kind of work environment that I'm in, where it's pretty much looking at different countries, different diverse teams. I think the most important factor is to make sure that they belong to a larger part of the organization. So, looking at what do they need for tomorrow in terms of a network, a connect, a relationship, a learning. So, this is where I focus on in my everyday kind of work life and journey now.
Now, I want to take you through a quick series of questions, a rapid fire, if you will. So I'm going to follow the sequence of Lily, Liz, and Poornima. I'm going to ask you a question, and I just want you to quickly react to that. What is the most underrated leadership skill, Lily?
I would say empathy and recognition.
The most underrated leadership skill is authenticity, transparency, and empathy.
Definitely empathy.
All right. The next question is one must-have habit for effective time management.
Oh, I'm so bad at it, Sushant. I need to be honest about it.
Setting priorities for the everyday. So the first thing you do in the morning is set the priorities that you need to get done, and block out time to achieve those things so that you're not distracted by emails or phone calls.
Oh, I just want to say the same thing that Liz said. It's all about prioritization.
Now, I want you to fill in a blank for this last one. You deal with disappointment by fill in the blank. Lily.
A window just closed and there is a door that is getting open for you.
Looking for the positive or the upside, regardless of how bad the situation is. There's always a positive, always.
I do that by generally taking a small break,
Take a
reflecting,
break.
internalizing, learning, and also pampering myself, a bit sometimes for having tried, and then getting back, on the long haul because we know it's a long journey.
If you look at your journey, you look at what have been the successes, what have been the challenges, and you were to distill all of this into a success mantra that you want to espouse to the world, what would that be? Lily.
I would say staying focused and never giving up, uh, and
Staying
not shying
focused.
away from challenges because that's what I have done.
Respect yourself and advocate for yourself because you can't expect anybody else to advocate for you if you're not advocating for yourself.
I'd say be the best in whatever you do, right? So basically have excellence at the core of anything you do, whatever it is, from the smallest task to something very strategic you're doing. And always aim to be, bring out your A game and be the best.
Thank you very much for being with us on this edition of Inspiring Women series and sharing your stories and sharing your suggestions. Wish you continued success and the very best in whatever you choose to take up in the future. Thank you once again for being on the show.
Thank you. Thank you,
Thank
Sushant.
you.